When was the last time you truly asked yourself if you were living for you or just living for everyone else's expectations? Most of us wake up every morning already thinking about what other people will think, say, or post about us. We scroll through endless feeds, comparing our lives to strangers we will never meet. We measure our success against someone else's highlight reel and then wonder why we feel behind. It's exhausting, isn't it? You give so much energy to a world that isn't even paying attention. You try to keep up with standards you didn't even set, and somewhere along the way, you forget about the one person who matters most. You. This is the truth most people are afraid to face. The more you focus on everyone else, the more you lose yourself. You spend your time chasing approval, chasing likes, chasing validation. You try to be perfect for everyone else, and yet you still go to bed feeling like you're not enough. That emptiness you feel, that quiet frustration, it's your soul trying to get your attention, begging you to stop living for the crowd and start living for yourself. What would happen if you stopped trying to impress them? What if you stopped comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20? Imagine how much energy you'd get back. Imagine what you could build if all that time you spent watching others was spent working on yourself. The life you dream about, the one where you wake up excited, proud, and confident, it isn't going to appear by chance. It begins the moment you choose to stop living on autopilot and decide that your focus, your attention, and your energy belong to you. You see, focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is the most powerful act of love you can give yourself. Because when you choose you, when you invest in your growth, when you put energy into becoming who you are meant to be, everything changes. You stop being pulled in 1,000 directions. You stop living by other people's opinions. You stop feeling lost and start feeling alive. And here's the reward waiting for you. Clarity, purpose, power, the kind of power that makes you walk into a room with quiet confidence, the kind of clarity that makes decisions easy because you finally know what you want, the kind of purpose that gets you out of bed even on hard days because you have something to fight for, yourself. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear could be the turning point you've been waiting for. If you have ever felt stuck, lost, or overlooked, this is your moment. If you have ever felt like you're falling behind, like life is running ahead of you, like you're not enough, this is where everything starts to change. Right here, right now, is the moment you stop living for everyone else and finally decide that your life is yours. You've spent too many years comparing yourself to others, haven't you? Measuring your worth against their achievements, their appearance, their relationships, their success. But comparison is a thief, and it has been stealing from you silently every single day. Free scroll, every glance sideways, every moment spent wondering if you measure up. It drains your energy and convinces you that you are somehow behind. The truth is, you are not behind. You are simply living someone else's timeline instead of your own. When you compare yourself to others, you give away control of your happiness. You let someone else's life dictate how you feel about your own. You allow strangers to set the standard for what you think you should be. And the more you do it, the more disconnected you become from your own potential. You start chasing goals that aren't yours. You start living dreams that don't belong to you. You begin to forget what you even wanted in the first place. This is the invisible prison most people never escape. It's the endless loop of comparison that leaves you exhausted, anxious, and unsatisfied no matter what you achieve. But there is a way out, and it begins with taking your eyes off everyone else and putting them back on yourself. When you stop comparing, you start hearing your own voice again. You start remembering who you are. You begin to discover what actually matters to you, not to them. Comparison will always whisper that you are not enough, but you do not have to listen. You are not here to be a copy of someone else's life. You are here to become the fullest, strongest version of yourself. And that requires courage. It means unfollowing the noise that distracts you. It means walking away from conversations that make you feel small. It means refusing to let other people's success make you doubt your own path. The moment you choose to stop comparing, you take back your power. Suddenly, your energy is no longer scattered trying to keep up with everyone else. It is focused, steady, and ready to build something real. This is where growth begins. This is where you start creating a life that feels right for you, not one that simply looks good to others. And the reward is freedom. Freedom from the constant pressure of measuring up. Freedom from the endless game of one-upping and proving yourself. freedom to simply be who you are, to grow at your own pace, and to trust that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. The world does not need you to be a copy. It needs you to be fully alive, fully present, fully you. When you focus on your own lane, you stop being a passive observer of life and start being an active creator. You stop running someone else's race and start running your own. And when you run your own race, you finally have a chance to win, not by beating anyone else, but by becoming the person you were always meant to be. But there's a price for ignoring yourself, and you already know what it feels like every time you put everyone else's needs above your own. A small part of you starts to fade. You silence your dreams to avoid judgment. You say yes when every part of you is screaming no. You work harder and harder trying to earn approval, but the satisfaction never comes. And slowly, quietly, you begin to lose connection with the person you were meant to be. That exhaustion you carry isn't just from lack of sleep. It's from living out of alignment. It's from stretching yourself thin, trying to keep everyone happy while you run on empty. You feel it when you drag yourself through days that feel repetitive and meaningless. You feel it when you wake up already tired, wondering if this is all there is. That's what happens when you neglect yourself for too long. Life becomes something you survive instead of something you live. Neglecting yourself doesn't just steal your joy, it steals your power. You stop trusting your instincts because you've ignored them for so long. You stop dreaming big because you've convinced yourself it's unrealistic. You stop taking risks because failure feels too heavy to carry on top of everything else. And before you know it, you are living on autopilot, going through the motions, waiting for something to change, but nothing will until you decide to make that change. This is the moment where everything can shift, because pain, as heavy as it feels, is also a messenger. It's telling you that you cannot keep living this way. It's telling you that the life you are living is too small for you. It's calling you to stop abandoning yourself and to start building a life where you can breathe again. You don't need to wait for rock bottom to wake up. You can choose differently now. You can start by listening to what your mind, your body, and your heart have been trying to say. You can begin by asking yourself what you truly want, not what looks good, not what pleases others, but what feels right for you. Because once you know that answer, everything else begins to shift. Imagine what it would feel like to finally choose yourself, to wake up with energy because you are excited about where your life is heading, to feel proud because you are living a life that reflects your values, not just the expectations of others. To know that you are no longer betraying yourself just to keep the peace. The pain of neglect can become the fuel for your transformation. Every time you feel that ache inside, use it as a reminder that you deserve more. Use it as a reason to take the first step, however small, back toward yourself. Your power, your joy, and your future are waiting for you, but they cannot be found by abandoning yourself. They are found when you finally make the decision to come back home to who you are meant to be. Every ounce of energy you have is a form of currency, and you've been spending it without realizing what it's costing you. Every thought you give to other people's opinions, every worry about what they might think every minute, wasted on drama, it all drains your account, and the more you spend on distractions, the less you have left for yourself. That is why you feel tired even when you haven't done anything for yourself all day. You are carrying everyone else's weight while starving your own growth. The truth is, focus is power. Wherever you direct your attention, you are feeding it. When you feed negativity, it grows stronger. When you feed self-doubt, it becomes louder. But when you start feeding your dreams, your confidence, your growth, everything about your life begins to expand. That is why learning to protect your focus is one of the most life-changing decisions you can make. Think about how many hours you have given to distractions that didn't matter a day later. Think about how much mental space has been taken up by people who aren't even thinking about you. What if you redirected that energy? What if every moment you spent worrying about someone else's opinion was invested in building your own future? Imagine the momentum you could create if your mind was no longer cluttered with noise. Your mind is a garden, and right now, it might be overrun with weeds, fears, comparisons, judgments, regrets. You cannot grow anything beautiful if you let those weeds take over. You have to pull them out. You have to decide that you will no longer water the things that drain you. You will no longer pour your energy into what is outside of your control. Instead, you will plant new seeds, thoughts that empower you, beliefs that strengthen you, actions that move you closer to who you want to be. It won't happen overnight, but every day you choose to focus inward, you reclaim more of yourself. You start noticing what feels good, what inspires you, what brings you peace. You start seeing where your energy is leaking and closing those doors. Slowly you shift from feeling like life is happening to you into realizing that you are shaping it. This is how you reclaim your power, not by controlling everything around you, but by controlling what you give your energy to. Your attention is the most valuable thing you own, and it's time to spend it like it matters. Stop giving the best of you to things that do nothing for you. Stop letting every distraction pull you off course. Your future deserves your focus. When you direct your energy toward yourself, life starts to feel lighter. You feel more grounded, more present, more alive. You start to trust that you can handle what comes your way because you are no longer scattered and drained. And with every choice to guard your focus, you build momentum. You move closer to the life that has been waiting for you all along. A life that feels aligned, powerful, and fully yours. Focusing on yourself will not always feel comfortable. In fact, it will often feel lonely at first. When you stop doing what everyone expects, some people won't understand. When you stop saying yes to everything, some will be disappointed. When you begin to grow, there will be those who try to pull you back to who you used to be. This is where most people give up, because standing alone feels unfamiliar and scary. But this is also the moment where your strength is forged. Growth requires separation. You cannot transform if you stay surrounded by the same distractions, the same habits, the same noise that kept you stuck. You may need to step back from certain people, certain routines, certain environments that no longer support who you are becoming. And yes, it will feel like you are walking into the unknown, but the unknown is where new possibilities live. Solitude is not your enemy. It is where you find your clarity. When you are alone with yourself, you start to hear your own thoughts without the interference of others. You begin to see what you truly want and what you've only been told to want. This is where you build the courage to choose yourself fully, even if no one is cheering you on yet. Standing alone is not about cutting everyone off. It's about creating space to grow strong enough to stand on your own 2 feet. It's about finding the courage to hold your boundaries when others push against them. It's about knowing that your worth is not defined by who stays or who leaves, but by your ability to keep moving forward no matter what. Yes, some people might judge you. Yes, some might question your choices, but their discomfort is not your problem. Their reaction is a reflection of their own fears, not your truth. You are not here to make everyone else comfortable. You are here to become who you were meant to be, and that will require doing things that feel uncomfortable at first. Every time you choose yourself, you build inner strength. Every time you keep moving despite the criticism, you grow more resilient. Every time you honor what feels right for you, you prove to yourself that you can trust your own decisions. And slowly that trust becomes unshakable confidence. You do not need the whole world to understand your journey. You only need the courage to keep taking steps, even when no one is watching. Because one day, the same people who doubted you will look at your life and see what you built when you chose to stand alone. They will see the strength, the peace, the confidence you created. And by then, you won't need their approval. The courage to stand alone is the bridge between the life you are living and the life you want. It is the proof that you are willing to do whatever it takes to grow. And once you cross that bridge, you will never look back. Choosing yourself is only the first step. The real transformation happens when you start keeping promises to yourself. For too long, you've kept promises to everyone else while breaking them with the person who needs them most, you. You say you'll wake up early, but you hit snooze. You say you'll start that project, but you put it off. You say you'll take care of yourself, but you keep pouring into everyone else until there's nothing left. And each time you do, you quietly teach yourself that your word doesn't matter. But imagine what would happen if you reversed that pattern. Imagine if every promise you made to yourself was one you kept, no matter how small. That is how trust is rebuilt, not through massive leaps, but through consistent action day after day. When you keep a promise to yourself, you create a spark of pride. And when you keep doing it, that spark becomes a fire. This is where confidence is born. Not from pretending to be perfect, not from waiting for someone else to validate you, but from proving to yourself that you can count on you. The world feels different when you can trust yourself. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop needing everyone else's approval before you take action. You move with certainty because you know that no matter what happens, you will show up for yourself. Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Follow through on the plan you made. take one step toward that goal you've been avoiding. These small victories add up, and each one builds a little more strength inside you. The more consistent you are, the more powerful you become. And soon, the person who once doubted everything becomes the person who refuses to quit. Keeping promises to yourself isn't always easy. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when it would be easier to give up, to fall back into old patterns, to convince yourself it doesn't matter. But those are the days that define you. Every time you push through resistance, you rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about who you are. You stop being someone who gives up and become someone who follows through. And the reward is deeper than you can imagine. There is a unique kind of pride that comes from looking in the mirror and knowing you didn't give up on yourself. There is a quiet strength that builds when you know you can rely on your own word. That strength will carry you through the challenges ahead. It will make you braver. It will make you unstoppable. This is how transformation becomes permanent, not through motivation alone, but through the quiet, consistent act of showing up for yourself again and again until it becomes who you are. You don't just think differently, you live differently. You become someone who honors their word, someone who trusts themselves completely, someone who refuses to abandon their own potential. And once that identity takes root, nothing can shake it. When you begin to trust yourself, the next step is to give yourself direction. Without a vision, your energy has nowhere to go. You wake up each day reacting instead of creating, drifting wherever life pushes you. But when you have a clear picture of where you are heading, every choice becomes purposeful. Every decision has meaning. You stop living by accident and start living with intention. Take a moment to picture the life you truly want. Not the one others have told you to want, but the one that would set your soul on fire. See it in detail. Feel it as if it were already yours. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. When you visualize your future with clarity, you begin wiring your mind to move toward it. Suddenly, you are not just hoping things get better. You are actively programming yourself to create better. This vision becomes your compass. When temptations appear, when distractions try to pull you away, you have something to measure your choices against. You can ask yourself, does this move me closer to the life I want? If the answer is no, you can let it go without guilt. You no longer waste energy on paths that do not belong to you. There is a powerful shift that happens when you give yourself a future to fight for. The struggles that once felt heavy begin to feel meaningful because they are part of building something bigger. The setbacks no longer break you because you see them as temporary obstacles, not permanent roadblocks. You begin to understand that everything you do, every habit you keep, every choice you make is shaping the person you are becoming. Your vision doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to be yours. What matters is that it excites you, that it makes you want to show up, that it pulls you forward even on hard days. This is what separates people who stay stuck from those who rise. They give themselves a reason to keep going. When you live with a vision, life feels different. Ordinary days gain purpose because you know they are building something extraordinary. Every action becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. You stop waiting for a perfect moment because you realize that the perfect moment is the one you choose to take action. And the most beautiful part, your vision grows as you grow. As you keep promises to yourself and gain confidence, your dream gets bigger, clearer, bolder. What once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. You begin to believe in yourself at a deeper level because you can see the proof. Your life is moving forward, one decision at a time. Give yourself that gift. Give yourself a future so compelling that you can't help but get up and chase it. Let it be the thing that guides you when you feel lost, the thing that reminds you why you started. Because when your vision is strong enough, nothing can stop you from becoming the person you were meant to be. A clear vision is powerful, but it means nothing without the discipline to bring it to life. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going when the excitement fades. It is the quiet force that carries you through the days when you feel tired, unmotivated, or tempted to quit. Discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. Freedom from the chaos of drifting, freedom from the regret of missed opportunities, freedom from being controlled by your moods. When you practice discipline, you teach yourself that feelings are not the driver. Commitment is. You do the work whether you feel like it or not. You stay consistent even when progress feels slow. You keep showing up day after day knowing that every small action is stacking in your favor. Discipline is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results because it turns dreams into daily actions. Think about the difference between someone who waits for motivation and someone who relies on discipline. The first person only moves forward when the mood is right, so their progress is inconsistent. The second person moves forward regardless, so they build unstoppable momentum. That is the power you unlock when you choose discipline. You become someone who cannot be stopped by a bad day, a bad mood, or a temporary setback. Discipline also builds confidence because each time you follow through on what you said you would do, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You stop being someone who just hopes things will change and start being someone who makes change happen. You begin to trust that no matter what happens, you have the ability to keep moving forward. It won't always be easy. There will be mornings when you want to stay in bed, evenings when you want to put things off, moments when you want to quit. But those moments are exactly when discipline matters most. Every time you choose action over excuses, you train your mind to work for you instead of against you. Every time you push through resistance, you grow stronger and more capable, and the reward is extraordinary. Discipline turns chaos into order, turns overwhelm into clarity, and turns potential into progress. It allows you to look back and see how far you've come, knowing that every step was earned. It gives you peace because you know you are doing what needs to be done instead of constantly feeling guilty for what you avoided. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about refusing to give up. It's about getting back on track when you slip instead of letting one bad day become a bad month. It's about holding yourself to a higher standard because you know what you are capable of. When you master discipline, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, there's nothing you cannot achieve. Your vision stops being a distant dream and starts becoming your reality, one disciplined choice at a time. As you strengthen your discipline, you will face another challenge, protecting your time and energy from the things and people that drain you. Every yes you give takes something from you. Every commitment, every favor, every distraction that doesn't serve your growth pulls you further from the life you're building. Saying yes to everything might feel generous, but it is often the fastest way to betray yourself. You cannot create a powerful life if you keep giving your power away. Learning to say no is one of the most liberating skills you will ever master. No to the invitations that drain you. No to the conversations that leave you feeling smaller. No to the habits that keep you stuck in cycles you are trying to break. Every no you speak is actually a yes to your future, a yes to your priorities, a yes to becoming the person you want to be. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. You have been trained to please, to agree, to avoid disappointing others. You may worry that people will be upset, that they will not understand, that they will see you differently. But this discomfort is temporary, while the cost of living without boundaries is permanent. Every time you say yes out of guilt, you teach yourself that your needs matter less than everyone else's. Every time you ignore what you truly want, you slowly erase yourself. But when you begin to set boundaries, everything shifts. You reclaim the hours of your life that were being stolen by distractions. You protect your mental space so you can think clearly and create. You give yourself the room to rest, to grow, to dream again. And with that space, you begin to feel alive in a way you haven't in years. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut the world out. They are gates that allow in what is good for you and keep out what is harmful. They are an act of self-respect, a statement to yourself and others that your energy is valuable. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. The ones who resist them are simply revealing that they were benefiting from your lack of them. Each time you honor a boundary, you grow stronger. Each time you say no when it matters, you build more respect for yourself. And soon the fear of disappointing others fades, replaced by the pride of knowing you are living in alignment with what matters to you. This is how you create a life that feels lighter, calmer, more focused. You are no longer stretched thin trying to be everything for everyone. You are present for the people and opportunities that truly matter. You are no longer scattered in 1,000 directions. You are steady, centered, and moving forward with purpose. Saying no is not selfish. It is the most powerful yes you can give yourself. And when you give yourself that yes over and over, you create the space you need to grow into everything you were meant to be. When you create space by setting boundaries, something incredible begins to happen. You start to hear yourself again. Beneath all the noise, all the opinions, all the demands of the world, there is a quiet voice inside you that knows who you are and what you want. That voice has been drowned out for years, buried under expectations, fear, and constant distraction. But now, with your focus turned inward, it grows louder. You begin to notice what excites you, what drains you, what feels true, and what feels false. This awareness is powerful because it allows you to live intentionally instead of reactively. You are no longer just surviving your days, you are designing them. Every choice you make, from how you spend your mornings to who you spend time with, becomes a reflection of the life you want to build. This level of clarity feels like freedom because it is freedom. You are no longer pulled in 100 directions. You are walking one clear path, one that leads exactly where you want to go. But this clarity also demands courage. Once you know what you truly want, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You cannot pretend you do not see the habits that are holding you back. You cannot ignore the relationships that are toxic or the routines that keep you stuck. This is where many people stop, because taking full responsibility for your life means letting go of the comfort of blaming circumstances, blaming other people, blaming luck. The truth is hard but freeing. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you dream about. That is your job, and that is the most empowering realization you will ever have. Because if it's your responsibility, it's also within your control. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to wait for the perfect time. You can begin right now with what you have, where you are. Every small step you take in alignment with your vision builds momentum. Every decision that honors your growth makes you stronger. And soon what once felt impossible begins to feel natural. The changes that scared you become habits. The doubts that once held you back lose their power. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone who wishes, but as someone who acts. This transformation is not loud or dramatic at first. It is quiet and steady, but over time it becomes undeniable. People notice that you carry yourself differently, that your energy has shifted, that you no longer settle for less than what you deserve. You notice that you are proud of the person you are becoming. You trust yourself more. You respect yourself more. This is the real reward of focusing on yourself, not just reaching your goals, but becoming the kind of person who refuses to abandon their own potential. And when you live from this place, life feels less like something happening to you and more like something you are actively creating. The more you begin to create the life you want, the more you will notice resistance trying to pull you back. Old habits will call to you. People who were comfortable with the old version of you may try to keep you the same. Fear will whisper that you are changing too fast, that you might lose what is familiar, that you might fail. This is the test every person faces when they choose to grow. Growth is not just about building a new life. It is about leaving behind the one that no longer serves you, even when it feels safe. This is where focus becomes your greatest strength. You must keep your eyes on where you are going, not where you have been. The brain loves the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. It will try to drag you back into the patterns it knows because change feels threatening. But you are not here to repeat yesterday. You are here to build something better. Every time you feel that pull backward, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself of the pain of staying stuck, of the dreams that kept you awake at night, of the deep knowing that there was more for you. When you feel fear rise up, meet it with action. Fear loses power when you move anyway. When you show yourself that you can take the next step, even with a racing heart and a shaky voice, you prove to your brain that you are safe to grow. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to move despite it. And every act of courage builds a stronger, braver version of you. You will also face moments of doubt, times when progress feels slow and you wonder if the effort is worth it. In those moments, focus on the smallest possible win. Do one thing that moves you forward, no matter how small. Progress is powerful because it builds hope, and hope keeps you moving even when things feel heavy. Each tiny step compounds over time into massive transformation. And with every step, you are training yourself to trust the process. You are showing yourself that you are capable of consistency, capable of discipline, capable of building something meaningful from the ground up. That trust becomes unshakable. And soon, you no longer just believe in the possibility of change. You know it because you have lived it. This is the point where focusing on yourself becomes your way of life. You stop waiting for motivation to strike because you have built habits that carry you forward. You stop needing external validation because you know what matters to you. You stop looking for shortcuts because you have seen the power of doing the work. And this is where everything begins to accelerate. Because now your growth is no longer something you have to force. It becomes something you crave. This is where life begins to feel different. You start waking up with a sense of purpose instead of dread. The same world that once felt heavy now feels full of opportunity because you are no longer just reacting to it. You are shaping it. You walk into your day knowing who you are and what you stand for. This clarity changes how you speak, how you move, how you treat yourself. It changes the energy you bring into every room you enter. People notice when someone is living with intention. There's a quiet power in a person who knows where they are going and refuses to be distracted. You become magnetic, not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because you are fully aligned with your own life. That alignment makes you confident, calm, and unshakable. Others will feel it. Some will be inspired by it, and some may feel threatened by it. But neither reaction matters as much as the fact that you are finally living as yourself, not the version of you shaped by others' expectations. This level of focus does not just transform your goals, it transforms your mind. Your brain becomes trained to see solutions instead of problems, possibilities instead of limits. You start to notice opportunities you once missed because you were too distracted or too doubtful to see them. You begin to trust your instincts more because you have built a relationship with yourself based on consistency and truth. But perhaps the most beautiful change is that you stop seeking constant validation from others. You no longer need their approval to feel worthy. You no longer shape your decisions around avoiding judgment. You stop apologizing for wanting more, for being different, for dreaming bigger than the people around you. This freedom is priceless because it allows you to live a life that is truly yours, not one that is borrowed from someone else's expectations. This is also when self-respect deepens. You keep the promises you make to yourself. You stop negotiating with your own standards. If you say you will wake up early, you do. If you say you will finish the project, you do. Every time you follow through, you send a powerful message to your mind. I can rely on myself. That trust becomes the foundation of everything you build. And as you continue, you realize that focusing on yourself is not selfish at all. It is one of the most generous things you can do, because the more you grow, the more you have to give. The stronger and more fulfilled you become, the more you can inspire and support others without losing yourself in the process. You begin to lift people up by simply showing them what is possible. This is the moment you understand that your transformation is not just about you. It is about everyone whose life will be touched by the person you are becoming. And that realization fuels you to keep going, to keep building, to keep showing up as the highest version of yourself. The more you grow into this version of yourself, the more you realize that everything you need was always within you. The confidence you were chasing from others was waiting to be built through your own actions. The clarity you thought someone else would give you was hidden under the noise you finally silenced. The peace you were searching for in the outside world came from choosing to live in alignment with your values. This realization is powerful because it frees you from waiting. You stop postponing your happiness until some future milestone is reached. You start living with purpose now. This shift changes how you handle setbacks. You no longer see challenges as signs that you are failing, but as opportunities to strengthen yourself. Every obstacle becomes a lesson, every delay a teacher. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin asking, what is this trying to teach me? That simple change in perspective transforms frustration into fuel. You stop seeing problems as reasons to quit and start seeing them as proof that you are on the right path, because growth is always uncomfortable. And as you stay focused, you begin to notice a deeper sense of gratitude taking root. You appreciate the progress you have made, no matter how small. You celebrate the moments you once overlooked, the quiet victories, the subtle shifts, the courage it took just to keep going when it would have been easier to stop. This gratitude keeps you grounded, reminding you how far you have come and how capable you really are. There is something unshakable about a person who has learned to rely on themselves, who has turned their pain into power, who has taken full responsibility for their life. You stop fearing what the world might throw at you because you trust your ability to handle it. You know that no matter what happens, you can keep moving forward. This is where true freedom lives, not in controlling everything around you, but in mastering yourself. This focus also helps you stay true to your vision when others don't understand it. Not everyone will see what you see. Not everyone will cheer for you as you grow. Some will question your decisions. Some will drift away. Some may even try to pull you back into the old patterns you've worked so hard to escape. But their doubt no longer carries the same weight because you know why you are doing this. You are no longer driven by the need to be liked. You are driven by the need to live fully, and that conviction makes you unstoppable. When you stop living to please others and start living to fulfill your potential, you tap into a level of energy and persistence that most people never experience. You no longer just dream. You do. You no longer just wish. You act. And the more you act, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. This is the power of focusing on yourself. It is not about ignoring the world. It is about becoming strong enough to face it, brave enough to rise within it, and wise enough to create a life that feels true to you. When you live from this place of inner strength, you begin to experience life on an entirely new level. You notice that the things that used to trigger you no longer control you. The opinions of others lose their grip because you are no longer living for their approval. You feel lighter, freer, more at peace with who you are. There's a calm confidence that grows inside you, a steady knowing that you can face whatever comes. This isn't because life has suddenly become easier. It's because you have become stronger. You start to trust the timing of your life. You stop rushing, stop comparing, stop panicking about being behind. You understand that your path is yours alone and that no one else's timeline can define you. This allows you to stop forcing things and start allowing growth to unfold naturally. You work hard, yes, but you also have faith. You know that every effort, every choice, every moment of focus is adding up in ways you can't always see yet. This is the point where your focus becomes unbreakable. Distractions still exist, but they no longer have the same power to pull you away from what matters. You see them for what they are. Empty promises, quick hits of comfort, fleeting escapes that cost you more than they give. And because you know what you are building, you choose differently. You choose the habit that strengthens you, the task that moves you forward, the decision that aligns with your future instead of your fears. And as you continue, something even greater happens. Your standard for what you accept in your life rises. You no longer tolerate the things that drain you, the excuses that once held you back, the relationships that keep you small. You create a life where peace is normal, where progress is expected, where discipline is no longer a struggle, but a part of who you are. This new version of you does not need to announce itself. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. Your actions speak for you. The consistency with which you show up, the quiet determination in how you live, that is what inspires others. You become the evidence that change is possible. You become the reminder that anyone can rebuild their life if they are willing to focus on themselves and do the work. And this is when you realize that focusing on yourself was never just about achieving more. It was about becoming more present, more resilient, more alive. It was about stripping away everything that was not really you so that what remains is something real, something unshakable, something powerful. The world around you may stay chaotic, but you are no longer controlled by it. You are no longer lost in it. You have built a center within yourself that no storm can destroy. And from that place, you can keep rising, keep building, and keep creating the life you were always meant to live.